in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live on Facebook. Everybody, go ahead and say hi to everyone. It's really informal now while we're taking time to share the screen with some other groups.
Well, I am so excited about this, and I'm so excited to hear what the invited guests have to say about their experience with everything.
I myself am excited to get to know you better and your book. When my husband told me about you and the mission you're on, not just your book, but the mission you're on, I got very excited to learn more. As I'm a coach, I'm a mindset coach, and something that I know about a lot of people is we get trapped in our perspective of the world and the way we think the world should be, and our blame and our judgments. And hearing a little bit, even just a little bit about your mission, really, it speaks to the fact that a lot of people get stuck in the judgments and the belief of how they think the world should be. And we end up creating more of that. And I can see that you're trying to break those patterns, right?
Yes, absolutely. And, I talk about shredding the label in terms of bullying, but it is in almost every area of our life that we can look at, how are we boxed in by the way we perceive the world and ourselves, and the labels that we put on almost everything, really.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us bully ourselves, right? And I'm assuming that gets touched on a little bit.
Yeah, it does. I say that no such thing as a bully can reverse the effects of bullying, and that is done by looking at what thoughts are created from those experiences, and then directly working to move those thoughts to a balanced thinking pattern.
And that's not easy, right? So like the mission that you've taken up is very selfless in that you have to put time and energy in breaking the code that a lot of people have been pre-programmed from day one about what their thoughts on bullying is, and that they have to have this defensive, offensive, like attack and defense mode towards bullies and the act of bullying, when there is such a better way. And I just want to thank you and really respect you for taking up that cause and going out there and saying there is a much better way that doesn't involve putting people down and labeling them, putting them stuck in a box that they have to live in the rest of their life. So again, I want to thank you and give you tons of respect for that journey. Thank
you so much. I'm really excited to talk about the birth of No Such Thing as a Bully, and the incredible experiences that went with that, because this has been a project for about 20 years. So this is sort of feels like an exciting culmination along with a new beginning for it.
I'm so excited to be a part of it. How about we go ahead and we're going to do the official start right now. You guys ready?
Woo! Ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Hi, everybody. Adam Bricker here from Adam Connects live on the virtual book tour. Today, you're going to have the honor, the privilege, and the pleasure to hear Kelly Karius talk about No Such Thing as a Bully. You're going to hear the stories behind it. You're going to get to meet Kelly live and in person right here on Facebook. You're going to get to meet the people behind the scenes. You're going to hear how everything has come up together for this moment so that we can defeat the whole process that we consider to be called bullying. And at this point, it's my absolute pleasure to go ahead and welcome Kelly to the show. Kelly, hi, we're so happy that you're here.
I am so honored to be here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And joining us from the outset is the beautiful first person ever to be on the virtual book tour. And I liked it so much, I married her. My wife, Sarah Weiss.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here in another one of your stellar, incredible book tours where you're elevating people who really deserve to have their message out. In just the short amount of time that I got to have a little bit of an intro chat with Kelly, I really love your energy. I love your mission. I'm really excited for what you're doing for the world. And just an honor to be any part of this with you.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited that you are here, and I'm excited to get to know you as well.
Thank
Well,
you.
there's two parts of my life that really make this a monumental moment. One is I live my life from a philosophy of I'm not under the illusion that the way I see the world is the way the world is. And if you can embrace that philosophy for the amount of time that we have Kelly on today, she's going to tell you about a way to look at what's been labeled bullying in a whole new process. If you're closed-minded to it, it's not gonna be effective. But if you're willing to hear not only Kelly's story, but her mission and other people have been a part of it, it's going to be an eye-opener. And the second part that makes it so rich for me is the mission of Adam Connects is to feed the children. And that's beyond food. It's education, empowerment, and direction. And Kelly's program covers all three of those: education, empowerment, and direction. So if you're a teacher, if you're a parent, if you're an administrator, if you're somebody who works in an office, pay attention. It's a great time. And with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to Kelly. Kelly, please give us first the highest view of what is no such thing as a bully.
The bird's eye view of no such thing as a bully is that we see classrooms, schools, teachers, and parents working together with the same language, with a new, more specific definition, so that they are looking at every situation mindfully, so they can see, is this bullying or is this just conflict? And they all have the tools that they need to give their important students right in their hands. They don't have to rely on anybody outside themselves. They have the tools right in their hands when these situations are happening. They can give those tools to the kids, and they can help kids manage everyday ordinary conflict, and they can step in when conflict becomes escalated and is considered to be bullying. That's the bird's eye view, is of a system where everything, the community, the schools, and the parents are all working together in the same direction.
We're going to dive deep into that coming on for the rest of our show today. And we want to let everybody know that if you want to stay connected to what's going on, you can do it now, you can do it later. You pick up your cell phone and you go ahead and you text the word STRONG. You text STRONG to 855-476-4845. And what this does is this is going to allow you to be connected to Kelly. It's going to allow you to be up to date on all the programs that she's running at No Such Thing as a Bully. And it's going to allow you, this is really, really important, it's going to allow you to share the information with other people who've never heard of such a strategy. So cool, that's a great way to stay connected. Kelly, I'm so happy that you're here today on the virtual book tour. When did you write the book, and who should be reading it?
When did I write the book? Let's start with that. First of all, I think everyone should read it. I think if you're a human, you deserve to have these skills in your hand. I started writing this book 20 years ago, and it was first published in 2011. Now, what happened 20 years ago is that I was hired by, I was just a baby in my private social work practice. I had worked for 1 year in child protection and then left to start a private practice, with everyone saying, "What are you doing? You don't have enough experience. You don't have the mentors. You only have a bachelor's degree." And I was like, "Yeah, but I also have a mediation certificate. So Zoom." And away I went. And very soon after, I was asked by 20 sets of parents to advocate for their children about a teacher/principal who was mistreating their students. And I thought I knew what I was doing at the time. When I look back on it, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of things that I could have done differently. But one of the things that I really saw in all of the interactions between the parents and the school board and the director of education and myself was that there was all this, what we would traditionally call bullying, happening. and all of this victimization sort of mindset happening. And I started to recognize like, hey, there's a better way that we can deal with these things, but I didn't quite have it yet. And then that year ended. And the principal went on to a different school because that's what we do. And I was sitting there that summer with a student that I was counseling, and a letter from a chief psychiatrist saying, bullying in this community is out of hand. This girl has PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, because of being bullied, and someone needs to do something in this community. So there I am, positioned as an advocate, and starting to think about bullying, and I'm a mediator, and so I put in a proposal to do a peer mediation program in the schools. And before I knew it, I was young, I was naive, and I really underestimated how very angry I had made the director and the school board in the year before. And so before I knew it, after submitting this proposal, there was an article in the newspaper that said I was being investigated by my ethics committee for breach of confidentiality, that I was not qualified to do the work that I was doing, that I was banned from all of the schools in Melville, and that I just, it kind of skirted around the edges of saying that I was a danger to children. So I was like totally taken aback by this, and I felt like, well, have I completely ruined my career? What have I done here? I knew that I hadn't breached confidentiality, but I didn't know what this kind of press was going to do. And also my kids were in the schools, in the community. So at one point, through this school year, I kind of just kept pushing it. I just kept going into the schools when I needed to. And at one point I went to help my kids who were in grade 5 at that time to put on snowshoes. And the people who were helping with the snowshoes were my mom and my grade 5 teacher. And then there were all these kids. And so I, helped anyone that needed help with their putting on their snowshoes. And very soon I get a letter home, and it says, you are making people uncomfortable by not abiding by this ban. So I called the school board office, and I said, I want a better understanding of what this ban means. And if you tell me that I can't help children at your schools, I promise you I will go to every parent of every child in this community, and I will help their child. And I will ask them to write me a letter saying I can help their child if their child needs help. And at that point, they knew that I would. They knew that I would like completely intend to do that. And so they lifted the ban at that point. The ethics investigation went on for a full year. And then when that was resolved, I sued the director of education, and we settled out of court, and to the advantage of my lawyer. And then I just started thinking again about what is this? What is happening with this bullying? And how do I can't walk up to the director of education and say, you're a bully, and have that mean anything or have any effect. And if adults are acting like this, how on earth can we possibly expect our kids are going to do any better? And so that was the start of writing No Such Thing as a Bully. Then I had it all written, but I was still using the words bully and victim. And I pushed back from my chair. This might have been around 2004, 2005. This whole thing has been a real process, I'm telling you. I pushed back from my chair, and with that, that proud feeling of, look at this giant thing I've just accomplished. And it was like I was hit by an electric shock. And in that moment, I knew that the words bully and victim as labels had to come out. there was just this concrete message to me that no, you thought you were done, honey, but you're not done. And so prior to this being called no such thing as a bully, it was called conflict and control. And then as I was pulling all of the labels out and doing a total rewrite on it, that is when it became no such thing as a bully. And at first I was writing for schools. And then I realized I needed to also write for parents. And that's when it became the no such thing as a bully system.
Wow, that's quite a story. That's like, that's like you were bullied into the situation, and you stood up, you fought for your rights, and you didn't come out to just defeat the bully. You came out, you actually ended the situation totally. Well, was it easily adapted after that, or was there more of a struggle?
Oh, the whole journey with no such thing as a bully has been a bit of a struggle to this point, because as this was going on, I was, of course, raising children, and I had other jobs, other social work positions. I was an expert witness for Court of Queen's Bench in matters relating to the custody and access of children, and I was teaching the government of Saskatchewan's parenting after separation course, and then I had little odd jobs in the meantime, like church secretary when I needed to pull in something a little more steady. And so, I look back on it and I just think especially that it's meant to be this kind of journey. That's something that is going to impact the world for generations to come. I truly, truly believe that. And so something like that doesn't need to have a fast start. It's okay to take the time and have those life experiences and those things that enhance the learning that goes into the material.
That's amazing. That's amazing. We're going to hear from somebody who's been through the process with you. Her name's Morgan,
Cindy,
and we're going to bring her on in a second.
I think we're going to bring Cindy on. Morgan and Cindy have both been.
Kelly, Kelly, we'd bring Cindy on if she was in the back room waiting for us.
Good.
But since we have Morgan, we're going to bring Morgan on. You good with that?
Absolutely.
We're going to be a little bit flexible in that she's sitting there waiting.
Love it.
I just wanted you to be prepared. I want to be her to be prepared, and I want the audience to be prepared, because you're on with Kelly Karius. The program's called No Such Thing as a Bully, and she had to take bully and victim out of the vernacular. The program's for parents, it's for teachers. You can get a hold of Kelly by texting the word strong. It's a really great alternative to bully. Text word strong to 855-476-4845. It's not like an old-time radio show where you can call in and just pick up your phone and dial that. What happens is you text the word strong, and they'll go ahead and send you a text message, so you can be a part of the program, a part of the solution, and part of the ways to actually share this with everybody else. If there's a teacher in your life, you may want to be sharing it now, or you may not want to know, or you may not know yet. Okay. By the time we're done today, you're going to know you want to share it. Okay. So I'm trying to do two things at once. I'm not that good at that. So let's do this. You give an introduction to Morgan. I'll bring her in. And then by the time you're done introducing her, she'll be all set up with her camera and her microphone.
Yes. So I met Morgan and her mom, Denise, when I was just really, this material was just still baby material. And I was contacted by Denise, who is also from my hometown, to say, her daughter was experiencing some bullying at school. And what did I have? Could I come could I come help? And so this family got me into the first school that I ever used no such thing as a bully in. And when I met Morgan, she is just one of the most beautiful human beings and souls that you ever could meet. And I am honored to have just a small piece in her life path. And I'm so honored that she's here to talk about this as well. One of the things that I'm excited to show everyone, and I won't show it quite yet, I'll wait for a moment. But one of the things that I received after having been at Morgan's school and breaking bread with her family was, I am going to show it now. I'm just going to, is this shirt that says Captain Awesome with my own superhero logo on the front.
How cool is that? Wow.
And Morgan had one that said Agent Change, which I absolutely love.
I was inspired.
Morgan, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. You have impacted our family so much. My high school career definitely shaped who I am. And Kelly definitely helped with that. She taught me that even though I was going through a conflict, I didn't have to be a victim. I wasn't a victim, and I was I had to find my own way. Now, Kelly showed me that through our stories, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors with anybody. I still remember one particular exercise that she did where we wrote down something that nobody knew about us. And I just remember being surprised, learning all the different things I didn't know about people who weren't necessarily the nicest people to me. And so that really changed and shifted my focus to realize that we don't know what someone's going through. We don't know what's happening, but we can learn, and we can learn to love those people despite having our differences, having problems, having conflicts. We can still learn to love. And that was a huge thing for me. And it really shaped who I am. I have a little boy now, and I have 2 babies in heaven. And one thing I have learned is it's never too late to love. It's never too late. And you never know what's going on behind those doors. So she definitely left her mark with us.
Oh, thank you. I love it. I remember looking at you and thinking, oh, I do not want the world to change this girl. Wear your tutus. You do you, sunshine. Yeah.
Well, I still have pink hair, so the world didn't affect me too much.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm so glad to hear that. I did not know that exercise really affected you so much in that way. So I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, and I'm just happy to see you, living and loving and loving on all those babies too.
Thank you. I'm definitely learning to love.
Beautiful.
Oh, this is absolutely beautiful. Let me do this over here. Morgan, thank you so much for coming in. What you said is nice, but we can all feel you, and from the heart to heart. Everybody watching, as parents and teachers, and maybe even students, can feel, the love that you have for Kelly on this. And I want to thank you for bringing that to the show.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. My love. Be well. Thanks for popping in.
You betcha.
Cool. Hi, Kelly. We have
Hi.
Cindy who needs to be on now.
I
She's
bet
got to
she
be on.
does.
All right. So
She is hard at work today.
hold
And
tight,
just,
Cindy. Here you come. You ready? Oh, by the way, tell everybody who's.
yeah. So Cindy is my daughter, and she lived through this messy birth of No Such Thing as a Bully. It was her school that I was banned from. And she has since grown up and gone on to have an education level far past mine, and helped with the development of No Such Thing as a Bully through all of these years. Cindy, thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your workday.
Can you hear me? You're
Yes.
welcome. Okay, good. I was having some trouble connecting, but I'm here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. So talk about what that was like for you as we were going through the experience with the school and the principal and me being banned and all of that mess.
Well, I guess you had sheltered us from it quite a bit. So there was a lot of ways that we didn't really know what was going on. I remember going to my grandparents' farm for my birthday and not being able to rationalize why we were there for so long in the middle of November when no holidays matched up. And so like those kind of inconsistencies. But other than that, the principals used to, pull us into the office and just ask, do we have enough food at home? So it was like they were looking for issues, but I never understood that was connected to what was going on at the time. So I just kind of got defensive and protective, and I was like, we're fine, thank you, and just never liked her. So that was that.
Did you have, so you didn't know that I was actually banned from your school at that
I knew,
time?
So I had found out a couple years later when I cut my finger. So I had cut off like the tip of my finger on a paper cutter that didn't have the proper safeties on it. And I learned when they wouldn't let you in for that, I think that was in grade 4 maybe, that you weren't able to come. And then also when we went snowshoeing, and they had told you that you weren't allowed to help any of my friends get their snowshoes on, when no other parent had stayed to help. And the chaperone on that trip was my grandma, who was like the previous principal of that school. So it really just made no sense. But we didn't really know any of that.
So as No Such Thing as a Bully developed, what was that like for you? Like, I know I asked you for lots of feedback, and Cindy did the cover for the book as well. Tell me what all that was like.
Well, when it started, I was in my undergrad, so it was a lot of extra work on top of my schoolwork. So I know our exchange was that you had to edit my papers if I helped you with things. And as I'm doing my master's, that still stands. Apparently nobody else does this kind of thing, but I like it. Yeah, so I think it helped me in my learning as I was kind of going through with my social work degree and figuring out where I wanted to go and getting an understanding of how things worked and applying theory to my own life and my own experiences and how I can use those experiences to move forward and support others in the future.
I love it. I know that there were times when I definitely wished I had these materials in a much stronger way when you guys were younger and could have taught them to you better. And so, yeah, I appreciate you sticking with me through those young parenting years and standing up to your principal for me.
It's interesting to me too that looking back, I think that the skills would have been most beneficial with speaking with some of the adults in my life rather than other kids that I was with or kids who were around, but just how powerful some of the experiences with adults were and how those stuck around, and not knowing how to tell them, you know what, I'm not comfortable with this line of questioning, Ms. Principal.
Yeah, that is so interesting. And that's a really good point, because when we talk about bullying, people think about it as child to child, but these tools are all about strengthening. So they absolutely do help with those child to adult interactions. Wow, good
This
point.
is all really important, because when I first heard about this, I thought bullying was subject to attacks and subject to deliberate attacks. And I come to learn it's common ways people act, common ways they speak, their actions. You know, I grew up with bullying, but I grew up in Philadelphia, and the championship team there was the Broad Street Bullies. So we were used to bullying. We were used to fighting. Okay, that's what we grew up with. And I'm not saying it's good or bad, but here's what the bad part that I experienced is that we took that into the next stage of our life. And we didn't know any different. You know, we went to play hockey and we had 10 kids and 7 sticks. You had to beat a kid up to take his stick away to play the game. Okay, but that was our atmosphere. Now you take us and move us into an environment where education is predominant, and there's people who are not used to fighting for what they have. And, you know, it really is inappropriate behavior, not intentionally to create distress or harm or so, but that's just what we were taught. And this program really helps parents, teachers, administrators understand that everybody comes from a different background. Go ahead, Cindy. I know you have the input for this.
I was just going to say that I think like there's 2 really important points there. And so the first is that intentionality, because at no point do I think that my principal had, you know, pulled us into the office to ask about food because she wanted to cause harm to the family. But she had this preconceived notion that my mom was a disturber and that she needed to check in on us more. But that intention did not come across well, right? So really looking at how are you approaching situations in a way that prevents you from using these bullying actions or victim responses in it. And then the second piece is that the strengthening, right? So as a 12-year-old, when I was standing up to that principal, I probably didn't have the greatest, most developed skills, but I was more than able to express that, no, my siblings are eating the rest of that pizza pot because my mom doesn't let us have pizza pops at home because she makes us eat healthier things. So I had the skills, I had the abilities, but I didn't always feel confident using them. I didn't always know how to use them in the best way. So bringing in that strengthening and working with what we already have to do better moving forward.
Oh, what great insight, what great information. We're with Kelly Karius, and at the moment too, her daughter Cindy. We're talking about no such thing as a bully, and Cindy had the pleasure of growing up as the program was developed, and now she's in education herself. Cindy, any final words on somebody who's never heard of this program before, who's involved in the school system somehow?
I think one beautiful thing about this program is that it can be expanded and used throughout the years. It builds on skills that are learned, skills that are inherent, skills that we need to develop further, and things that will follow children and youth and families into their futures. And it can really, really make a difference in the way that we perceive things, in the way that we manage situations. So definitely reach out for more information if you're still not convinced.
Yeah, and thank you, Cindy. Thank you so much. That more information is on links below. We'll put all the links in. Kelly has a really vibrant community. No such thing as a bully. It's let's challenge ourselves. Is that what it is?
Yep. That's what it is.
let's challenge ourselves. So that'll be down below, or you're watching it live. I have a vibrant community, Adam Connects, and of course we use a system using text messages, because if you're watching this, you have a smartphone, you have the ability to text. As a matter of fact, you probably text every day. So go ahead and text the word strong to 855-476-4845. And that'll get you directly connected to Kelly and her entire team, who you're going to get a chance to meet more of as we continue on today. So Cindy, I just want to really say thank you for not only being on and supporting your mom, but for actually sharing emotionally how this affected you, and also by sharing the skills that you developed as going through the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Cindy.
And come over for dinner. Mom's making something good tonight.
Soon, this weekend.
Oh, she's delightful. Thank you so much for having her on.
She is delightful, and she is extremely wise.
You know, the more I get to speak with you and hear about you and meet the people that you've touched their lives, the more I understand how important you are to what we're doing. So this program right now, I know it's available for schools and businesses and parents and teachers. What countries is it available in?
It is available anywhere that they can use English-speaking material. So everything right now is online or English language material. I don't have any translations yet, but that's not to say that that won't happen. And so, yeah, everything is accessed directly online, and we welcome anyone from anywhere in the world who sees this as a something that they can use within their community, home, school, or business.
Cool. Oh, this is amazing. You're on with Kelly Karius, and it is No Such Thing as a Bully virtual book tour. I'm your host, Adam Bricker. I'm really excited to be here. You're meeting a wide variety of people who have been involved in Kelly's life. And the next one we're going to bring up is, oh my goodness, you know what? Let me give you, Kelly, the honor to introduce our next guest.
This is Nikki, Jenna Nikki on Facebook, Nikki to me. I met Nikki when I saw a post on Facebook about a personal situation she was going through, and I just wanted to grab her and hug her and say, take some breaths, it's going to be okay. Let's work on this. And so I put out my feelers in our Saskatchewan community and asked who knew her, and found my way to an introduction to Nikki that was just exactly meant to be.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I met Kelly online, and it was after my son had attempted suicide when he was 10 years old in 2014. And just listening to Cindy speak earlier, it was with the school and the teachers that we were struggling, and that's where my son's issues began. And then because it happened in the classroom, and the teacher was the one that was, I guess, initiated the highlighting of my son and his inabilities. The children, took it out on the playground. So it was was very much appreciated and needed when she did reach out to my family and I. So super grateful for her on so many levels.
So when we first met and all of that was happening, what was it about No Such Thing as a Bully that made you go, oh, you know what, this is something useful for me. This is what I need.
Well, it's conflict resolution at its finest. And it's so simple that kids can use it and apply it if they are taught it. And it doesn't just apply to children. Like, I use it in my daily life. I use it in my social work education. I know I'll use it in my social work career when the time comes. So the tools, they're universal, they're across the board. Everybody can use them, and who doesn't need conflict resolution? Like, it's very necessary. I think everybody can benefit from this, school or not, parent or not.
Yeah. And one thing that always impacts me about you is your strength in standing up for what is right, standing up as an advocate, standing up where you see that you need to stand up. Has no such thing as a bully. Like, I know that you had that before I met you. Has no such thing as a bully changed the way you do that?
Yes, it has. I bordered on like, and when we look at it, and when we're emotional, and I was emotional, absolutely, I almost lost my son another 30 seconds, and this would be a different outcome. So yeah, I was very emotional. I was very bull in China shop. I was very aggressive, not so much assertive, and no such thing as a bully. Absolutely, it keeps me in touch with my emotions. I have to be aware of myself. I have to be aware of what I'm doing and how I'm going to approach it. And you get more of what you focus on, which is kind of all throughout No Such Thing as a Bully, all throughout Moment of Kindness. I'm going to pop that one in there too. But you get more of what you focus on. So if I want to be aggressive, I'm going to be met with aggressive people. If I want to be assertive, I will meet people that or they will meet me with assertiveness, or at least a willingness to hear what I'm saying. If I want to meet people with passiveness, I'm probably not going to get what I need. So No Such Thing as a Bully is, it teaches you assertiveness. And yeah, so it has definitely helped the way I maneuver through some really tough waters sometimes, because I absolutely stand up loud and proud. It's kind of been my life motto, and I don't shy away from what needs to be said, what I believe is right. And No Such Thing as a Bully, and the Parents Manual, and the entirety of it has really helped me to be able to stand up and advocate and have a voice, but do it in a way that is more productive than I was when I was a bull in a china shop.
I love it.
When I learned about bullying, it was always, punch the bully in the nose. And that never really caused a long-term solution. It would, might have rectified what you were going through, but it's not the right solution. And Nikki, I really appreciate the way you said that.
I, before No Such Thing as a Bully, I did teach my son to fight back, and he fought back on the playground. He stood up so I refer to my family and I as upstanders. We're not bystanders. So we stand up for people. We stand up for ourselves and others. And my son at 8, 9, 10 was doing that. And there were certain people at the school, certain children that were being picked on, and my boy stood up for them. And, it did get aggressive sometimes. And sometimes it did for like 3 days. And then, then there'd be 3 kids that he'd have to physically deal with. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger and harder and harder. And, he's not a fighter. He's a lover. He's just, so I wasn't teaching him something that was aligning with himself either. So it helped very short term, and ended up with a lot more issues in the long run, because then everyone was seeing my son's reaction, but they weren't seeing the action that led to the reaction. And ultimately, we don't want a reaction, we want a response. So that's really important too.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that sort of a philosophy point of no such thing as a bully, when a parent says to me, I just told my kid to punch that other kid in the face, I say, okay, that is a tool. That is a tool. We don't want to take any tools away. We just want to add more. Because if that's the only tool, then we're not serving our kids well. And so, yeah, you know what, you just me seeing the way that you have used this with your kids and some of the different activities that I see you do with both of them. Oh,
my favorite part, and Piper and I still, like, Breck, my son now is 17 and he's got all these tools down pat, but my daughter's 8. And my favorite part of No Such Thing as a Bully that we do daily in our house is role play. So we go over the possible situations or things that could happen, things people could say, and how we can deal with them. And we have fun with it. Some of it's funny, some of it's mean. Like, you know, kids are mean, people are mean. They don't always say nice things. And we have to be able to, on the spot, deal with, how am I going to deal with that really nasty thing that person said? So we love role play. And I just have to share this piece about Piper. This happened a couple weeks ago. And she's 8 and the bus stops in front of her house. So there's about 8, 9 children that get on the bus at any given day when school is on. And there's a little girl who is younger than everybody. She's in kindergarten. And so the boys were playing monkey in the middle. And the day before, the girls were the monkeys and the boys were not letting them get the ball. And this was really upsetting for the girls. So when Piper came home from school, we went over, like, because I could see she was agitated. She dealt with it okay. She just removed herself that day, did something else. But then when she came home from school, we talked about her frustration. We talked about what I saw. And then we talked about things that she could do differently. So the next morning she went out and she chose, instead of to play monkey in the middle with the boys and not get the ball and start her day off frustrated, she chose to get sidewalk chalk. So her and the girls decided they were going to do sidewalk chalk instead of playing monkey in the middle. And that really bothered the boys because they liked their activities. So they liked their actions and they liked the frustration. Sometimes people feed on that. And so they were quite upset. The boys were upset that the girls weren't playing monkey in the middle. And what happened was, one of the boys, who is an avid hockey player, who is an avid baseball player, who throws and hits his target often, if not every time, threw the ball and accidentally, I will use the word accidentally loosely, hit this little girl, the one in kindergarten. And Piper looked over at him and said, so-and-so, you hit so-and-so, and that's not very nice. And the little boy said, well, it was an accident. And Piper said, I don't accept that. You are a really good thrower and you throw the ball and we're not anywhere near the other boy. So I know that you meant to throw that at us. And he was like, oh, well, I didn't mean to. And Piper said, I don't accept that. And you still owe this little girl an apology. And the boy apologized. So I know that had the boy not apologized, Piper would have been like, if you don't apologize, when we get to school, I'm going to tell the teacher. So and the kids have like, it's realistic consequences, right? So had the boy not accepted or at least apologized, Piper would have made him accountable to somebody who could make him accountable. So it's, I just love the tools. And she sorted that out at 8 years old and called him on his crap all by herself, and in a very productive way, better than some adults I've witnessed myself at times too. So I'm happy.
that's amazing. I love it.
Me too.
Oh, what a great story. Thank you so much, Nikki. Thank you. Just one last thing, real simple question. Has No Such Thing as a Bully helped you be a better parent?
No Such Thing as a Bully has helped me be a way better parent. No Such Thing as a Bully has helped me be a better human being. it will help me be a better social worker. It's helped me be a better friend and daughter. Honestly, there is no area of my life that the tools and this system hasn't helped me in. So I will sing from the rooftops all day about no such thing as a bully.
Thank you. Thank you. We really appreciate you being on. Kelly, anything else you'd like to say to Nikki before we say goodbye?
Just thank you so much for being here. And I am blessed by your friendship, and I appreciate the circumstances that brought us together.
Thank you, Kelly, for everything.
Bye, Nikki. Oh my goodness, what a great story. Can you imagine thousands and thousands and thousands of moms and dads telling that same type of story? Their child used what they said and conflict resolution to people who are bigger than them. Your daughter used it with teachers and administrators. This is a powerful tool. And can you elaborate a little bit when you said, and I want to get this right, that punching someone in the nose is a tool. You don't want to take that tool away from somebody, because I guess sometimes punching somebody in the nose is the tool to use. But you want to give everybody other tools so they don't always resort to punching somebody in the nose.
Right. I come from a hockey family. German, Ukrainian, tough. Pull up your socks, deal with what you have to deal with. And you know what? Sometimes that involves some fists being thrown. And so I see that you can't, if I walked in and tried to take that mindset away from somebody who really believes in it, I'm not going to get anywhere. I can add to it, but if I take it away, I've taken away their only tool while they're waiting to add new ones. And what are they left with? Nothing. So they're not going to stick around. So yeah, it's a tool. It's a tool in the toolbox, and it's okay to leave it there and add other tools in. And you'll soon find that it's it's kind of a hammer when you're trying to put in a screw and you need a drill.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you putting it in that perspective. I always say my program is the digital branding toolbox, and I'm all about loading up with tools. Who knew that there were more tools to handle yourself in conflict when dealing with the actions of bullies, and in such a way that they're not teaching anywhere in schools right now. Now, your book outlines this. I know there's a program. So you can participate in the book, you can participate in the program, but in getting this book out, there's somebody who we're going to bring on who is really influential in bringing it and making it a usable, viable product for people. And her name's Colleen. And as you introduce her, we'll ask her to go ahead and turn on her camera and unmute her microphone.
So Colleen McCubbin is an editor, and she is editing my book. She probably has more roles than editor that she could share about, but she is editing the No Such Thing as a Bully book for parents. As I said, this first came out in 2011, and I just did all of my own editing for it. I just did, look at, I got weepy tears on my makeup. I just did all my own editing and put it out there, because my thought was, I can't wait with this stuff. This stuff needs to be out there right now. And the thought of sending my baby into publishers and getting rejected, and having to take them by the shoulders and shake them and say, you don't understand how important this is. I was not into that. So I really just I wrote it. I had some people read it. We edited. There's probably still some mistakes in it. And all through the years that I was self-publishing it, there was probably still some mistakes in it. And a while ago, I found Colleen through a mutual friend, and Colleen took on the challenge of editing the No Such Thing as a Bully book for parents. And I would love to hear from Colleen about that experience. Oh, we got you on mute, Colleen.
Okay, there we are. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so we're still, I said we're still in the middle of it, but we're not in the middle. We're near the very tail end. And it's taken a while, but I think it's going to be worth the wait, because you do have a viable product right now. But what we're doing is making it even better. We're polishing it up so that we can give it global reach as a book. You've got the program, but we just had a conversation last week that the book is really a cornerstone for you. It can be a really wonderful entry point into the world of No Such Thing as a Bully, right? So the experience, though, of working with this book, when we first talked, it made so much sense, the concepts that you were talking about. And then you sent me the manuscript and we started digging into it. And, you know, editing can be quite technical work, you know, with formatting and grammar and punctuation and even some content things, rearranging sentences and switching out words and that sort of thing. It can be pretty technical, but I found your work, I actually slowed down because it was so convicting. I found myself going, oh yeah, like I was bullied in high school, so I knew I would find myself in there and with the victim mentality and victim responses. But but at the same time, I've always been a fairly confident person. And as I was reading some of your descriptions of bully actions, I was like, oh no, I've used these tools. And I think it's interesting that you call them tools because they are. If you only have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And I realized that even in midlife, I still have a lot to learn about these power dynamics, about when I'm choosing bully actions and when I'm choosing victim responses and ways to adjust that. So beyond the technical side of just editing the book and taking it to layout and putting it in distribution so that anyone around the world, just about anyone around the world, will be able to buy it on anywhere you might want to buy a book, local bookstores, all the way through to Amazon. We've got plans for the ebook. I don't know, we're in my company, we're also working on large print editions and audiobooks. So who knows, the sky's the limit. We could do a lot of things with Kelly's work. So, but I think the content is so powerful and it needs to get out there to people.
And that's exactly what we're doing today. We have the virtual book tour to let people know. We're bringing on parents, teachers, administrators who've used the program. And what we did is on her digital branding toolbox, we put a special button. And it's a little button. So if you're one of the people that have texted STRONG to 855-476-4845, you have a text and you have her card. The button says share by text or share by email. It's a one-click button. We call it word of mouth advertising.
Word of mouth.
So if you want to share Kelly's information, it's one click, put in an email, it goes. Put in another email, it goes. Put in a text number and it goes. And I really appreciate you saying that, Colleen. What would you say out of when you were reading the manuscript and the book for the first time? What is it that caught you by surprise most? That's something that you heard that's not available anywhere else.
Something that I heard that's not available anywhere else. Well, every time I tell people I'm working on a book called No Such Thing as a Bully, well, not every time, but almost often, people are like, what do you mean there's no such thing as a bully? It's a very provocative title, and it's an amazing conversation starter to help people reevaluate what they do, how they interact in their relationships. And so I think that's probably one of the most unusual things. Nobody's talking about the balance of power the way Kelly is in relationships. And so then personally, that the way Kelly talks about the balance of power has had me reevaluating a lot of my own relationships, and where, like I said before, where I choose to use victim responses, and I need to kind of sit up and question, what I'm doing there, or where I'm trying to overpower someone and actually using bully actions in that process. And so it has me self-reflecting, but I think that conversation, there's a conversation we're starting all over the world, right? About there isn't really such thing as a bully. The label, we don't want to label someone a bully, but we want to help people understand that we all have the potential to use bully actions, and we all have the potential to see ourselves as victims. And I think, yeah, I think that bullying is real, victimization is real, but the parts we play in it may not be what we think they are.
That's an amazing discovery. I did the same thing as well. And the first time I learned that some of the ways I speak to people that is bullying, it's a bullying action. I didn't realize it, and I rejected the notion at the beginning because I was, well, if somebody treated me that way, I'd be fine. I'd do this, and so basically it ends up being a power struggle, a verbal fight, a wrestling match, which I'm okay with, but now I get to know that's just one tool I have.
Right.
And if I'm in a wrestling match with somebody who's not voluntarily participating, then that's bullying action. And that's really something that I got out of this, that it didn't hurt my male ego. It didn't, like try to squash me down. It opened me up and enlightened me to what else is available.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, Kelly, floor's back to you.
Well, I think Colleen put it perfectly, and I really appreciate it, and so did you, and I appreciate that because I don't want to squash anybody's ego, right? I want to lift people up and help them see the potential in their worlds. And so one story that's really reflective of this is if you imagine, if you imagine one person in the middle of a circle and 10 all around, and each of those 10 people uses one bully action against that person, none of those people are going to say that they're bullies, but there's somebody who's been bullied. And that's the case for that personal reflection. And I just really appreciate that is what the book brings on. That is definitely the intention. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Colleen.
And as a publisher, editor, you don't always expect to be impacted by the book. You're providing a service. And so to have this so deeply impact me, that I just think I'm so excited to share it with the world. So
thank you.
Thank you
so much, Colleen, for being on. Your work is going to be in the hands of so many people, and thank you for your contribution to this project.
Thank you. Okay, bye.
All right, we are really making some big impact, and it's no doubt that's what we do with the virtual book tour. Real quick, Kelly, you're part of a bigger picture as well. Next week, Adam Connects does present 2 virtual book tours. We have Eddie. Have you met Eddie yet?
I've met Eddie online. Give
So
us,
Eddie is Eddie Smile Rodriguez. We'll have him on next Monday, and he's on his 10 million smile tour, his 10 million smile world tour. So, oh, he's really exciting. And then on Friday next week, we have Frank Empowers, and Frank is this strong, macho powerhouse of an individual who has become a cuddly kitty in dealing with other people. So the bullying side has melted away. I can't wait to introduce you to him. He went from rock bottom to mountaintops, and he's gonna help show you exactly how to do that again. So next week, please feel free to join in for the virtual book tour with Eddie Rodriguez, and on Friday with Frank Empowers. And back to Kelly Karius. I'm so happy to have you here. As we get to wrap up, I want to thank the person behind the scenes that helps us. There's a person on my side. His name is Mitch, and he's the one who's going to switch the other graphic right now, so you'll know that he's actually here. And he's fielding all the questions. Thanks, Mitch. He's fielding all the questions from Facebook and all the other feeds. But we have another person that's behind the scenes for you, and we want to go ahead and bring her right onto the camera. Her name is Victoria, and I'll let you introduce her and tell the world what she means to no such thing as a bully.
Victoria has stepped up, seeing potential, has stepped up and said she wants to help with this mission. And I would love to hear from her kind of what made her want to join the No Such Thing as a Bully team. I also have to say that she just jumps in and makes everything better immediately. It's amazing.
Hi, Kelly. Hi, Adam. I'm so happy to be here and to be part of No Such Thing as a Bully. I think that especially the kids are the future of everything. And if we start building with them, and if we start educating them into being like more empathic and comprehensive, and to learn how to like fix and comprehend the struggle that they can get when they are becoming a bully or when they are being bullied, I think this society will be so much better.
Yeah. And I mean the reach that this has to be able to do that, because it's putting the material in the hands of people close to them. I think that is so important. And your role in sharing the material and getting it out there. And one thing that Victoria has been sharing is a trauma-informed homes and schools course that we are doing on July 9th and 19th. And I'm very excited about that because I mean, trauma comes not only from bullying, but from so many directions in people's lives. And I'm so excited to have you with me sharing that and making that known.
Right. I mean, trauma is something that not so many people are aware of. And I think, especially through COVID, many people have been in these problematic households that may cause trauma. And I think that you doing this is so special to get the focus on the people that need it the most. I do feel like grateful to be in this project, Kelly.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Victoria. We really appreciate you popping in. And I just want to give a shout out to everybody in the background that makes it possible. I work with a lot of leaders and a lot of innovators and a lot of people who make a difference in the world, but there's one thing they all have in common. They all say we can't do it on our own. And so it's everybody, it's that team effort that comes together. When your idea is so good, it attracts other people to be expansive with it. So Victoria, thanks for popping on with us. We really appreciate it. And thanks for the work you did in the back room today, helping everybody be comfortable while they were waiting to get on.
Thank you, Adam. And thank you, Kelly, for doing this. I know you will get, I hope, into every home that really needs it, so we can do a better place.
Thank you so much, Victoria.
Bye-bye now. You know, I was reading something the other day on about Zoom and saying you shouldn't wave when you say goodbye, and I'm gonna wave. I didn't necessarily agree with that. And you know, it's okay if not everybody agrees with what you're doing. It may or may not be a cure-all for everything involved in conflict resolution. But I'm sure that you would want an audience with people who would say why it's not good, because you know, maybe it flushes out even more tools. So, you know, my experience is everybody I'm speaking to who's encountered your program is embracing it. People who don't embrace it, we want to have their attention as well. So go ahead and look at it. If you're in a stance where people like there is a bully, there has to be a bully, and then you know let's have a let's have a discussion over it, you know, or get in the ring and duke it out. No.
I am always willing and eager to have that discussion. And I remember a few years ago, I did a CBC radio interview, and one of the first comments, and then it was posted and online. And one of the first comments was, "No wonder we can't solve bullying with somebody like you trying to handle it. What do you mean there's no such thing as a bully?" And you know, I just engage because I get it. I get where that person is at. And there's just a little bit more information that can usually be provided, and people go, oh, okay. Oh, personal responsibility and accountability. Okay.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing how quickly that can turn and be, I used the word earlier, I want to use it again, expansive, because we're not removing what they have. We're not taking away any of the tools they have. We're just adding a new set to them. You know, when somebody had originally asked me, and you know, somebody commented earlier on a cliche I love to use, if your only tool is a hammer, everything starts to look like a nail. And you know, the one time they said, you know, if you have a hammer, you know, how would you ever put a screw in the wall? Well, I'll put a screw in the wall with a hammer. I promise you. It's going to happen. So there's not always just a broad line. Sometimes there's fine lines to walk as well. Explain to people what your program looks like, and you know, because you could read a book, and reading a book doesn't always do it. What kind of participatory programs are available for people for no such thing as a bully?
Yes, the book is great. And we have more than the book. So there are some starter programs that you can join, how to bully-proof your home, bully-proof your school, or bully-proof your classroom, or trauma-informed homes and schools. And those are all just $47. All the bully-proof courses, they all come with live Zoom meetings with me. So you can have some face-to-face time and really learn how to adapt the material to you. And then if you say, you know what, I want a little more, I want to stay on and I want to be supported in this, then we offer you memberships. We've got a parent membership, we've got a teacher membership, and then you can come into our membership community and, you know, really be interacting with people who are using the material, get advice, get ideas all along the way. And then we have a magnificent package for schools where I will train 5 of your staff members and certify them to teach the No Such Thing as a Bully system with our certification program. And we'll keep 5 of your staff members trained for 2 years. So you don't have to worry if somebody leaves, you got a little staff turnover and you want to put somebody back into there and get a new person in your school trained, we are happy to do that. And we stick with you and offer you that support and implementation through the year. As a school, you also get, of course, the new definition for bullying. You get the policy for schools, which is a recommended policy built on PrevNet recommendations and also Bully Proof USA recommendations. It uses Barbara Colaroso's methods of being reconciliatory and focusing on restitution. And so that ongoing support and that consistent help, helping you implement this new language, helping you, move that out from your school to your teachers, to your parents. If you're a parent grabbing on, then that ongoing support for you as you are parenting, which is, I have to say one more time, if I haven't said it yet, one of the most difficult jobs in the world, and the one where all of a sudden after 18 years you have to listen and say that you're sorry for things. We'll help with that. Come and join the community and be a part of this movement, and we support you, and then you are able to share that information with the people who are most important to you.
All right, you're hearing that from Kelly Karius, the creator of No Such Thing as a Bully. That didn't sound good. We'll try that again. You're hearing that from Kelly Karius, the creator of No Such Thing as a Bully. And what she said is that you can buy the book, but you don't have to be done with just the book. There's participatory programs for just $47 to get involved. There's a way to get involved as a teacher, a parent, and there's even programs for entire schools. She'll be by your side. She'll help you learn it. She understands you're not going to understand the whole program the first time you hear it. And then once you understand it, you're not going to be the best person ever at implementing it until you practice. Okay? So there's opportunities to have Kelly by your side, Kelly on your team, Kelly. And
if you're a business or a CEO, corporation, and this is something you want for your team, we can do that as well. Because any conflict resolution skills that are learned at work are also going to filter down into homes.
I love that part, especially as a CEO. Yeah, as a CEO, you want your staff to get along. Okay, I never want my accountant to like my bookkeeper, but I want them to get along. Okay, I want them to get along. So whether you're CEO, principal, the head of the school district, look into No Such Thing as a Bully. It's real simple. Text the word strong. You have a cell phone, you have a smartphone, just send a text to 855-476-4845. It's one word, it's the word strong. And you'll get all of Kelly's information. Kelly, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing. And hearing, because I don't like just every day go and phone up my people and say, hey, how did this affect you? And what has this meant to you? And so to hear everyone's point of view today has just been amazing. I'm surprised I have any eye makeup on left.
I found that, in marketing and in branding, we always want to get some testimonials from people and videos from people. And when you ask for that, it comes from their head. And they sit down, they think, and they write, and they rewrite, and they rewrite. The way we do it, it comes from the heart. And it's really an opportunity to say, this is what affected me. And when you see the tears welling up, and when you hear the passion, you feel the energy coming off them, it's real, it's authentic, and it's absolutely what other people need to hear to know that what you're doing is a fantastic thing for everyone involved.
Amazing.
So Any final words before we go ahead and depart?
You know, I just want to encourage everyone to check it out. The book is on pre-sale. That link has probably been posted somewhere. Check it out. If you have any questions, I am happy to have those conversations, and text strong to the number, and you will have all of my contact information. Please don't hesitate to get in touch and ask any questions that you need answered.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Adam.
Appreciate you being on. Oh, say it one more time.
Thank you, Adam and team. I appreciate all of the work that has gone into this. Thank you all so very much.
For Kelly Karius, for everybody at No Such Thing as a Bully, for the Adam Connects community, then Adam Bricker, happy to host the virtual book tour. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, there's no such thing as a bully.